What's up, everybody? Joined here today with the frog expert himself, Bobby Barrack, the one and only, the frog father, whatever you want to call him. I'm literally just going to hand the floor over to you because you're the expert. So take us away on frog fishing, everything from A to Z. Go for it.
A to Z on frog fishing. Well, he says we got 40 minutes, so we can't do that in 40 minutes, but we'll put a dent in it anyway.
Okay, good enough.
When talking about frog fishing, it starts with the equipment, right? So this is a little self-promote thing, but I'm doing this for a reason because this is exactly the greatest frog rod on the market. This has got 40 years of frogging technology built right into it. This is the iRod Quirkus frog rod. This is the Bobby's Perfect frog rod. This is 7'9", and the reason more guys don't have a 7'9" frog rod is because they've never caught a 3-pounder with a 7'9" frog rod. If you catch one 3-pounder with a 7'9" frog rod, you go, ooh. You catch 2 3-pounders with a 7'9" frog rod, say, this is what I got to have, and I got to have a few of these things. That's what's going to happen, I'm telling you. We do have the 7'2" rod also for those guys that are just stubborn. They like that 7 to 7.3 size, okay? It's, number one, they're just beautiful rods. The nanocarbon reel seat, very key to this thing. It keeps it light. The full cork handle, old school guy. I don't like foam. I don't like split grip stuff. I just like the full-blown cork right here. The WXW wrap for strength and crispness. When I pop these guys with this rod, when I pop them, this rod reacts and it loads so fast and it locks up so quick. On the 7, well, they both have the same blank. It's just a little bit shorter. It's the exact same blank on 2. It's 179, 7'2". It's not a parabolic rod. I love all my frog rods in the past, full-blown parabolic rods, right? Starting from the end of the cork, it starts to bend about right here. For heavy grass like we used to have, those days are pretty much over with. Heavy grass, the big parabolic rod was a good thing. When you're dealing with 3 to 9 pound bass in heavy vegetation, that big 7'9", super stout parabolic rod, hard to beat. But taking that same rod into loose vegetation, open water type situations, primrose, American pondweed, elodea, loose elodea, milfoil. Milfoil is my absolute favorite grass in the world. But when you start to catch fish in those types of situations, more of a open water type of, but relating to a heavier cover, then this rod that I have, the 7'9" Bobby's Perfect frog rod from iRod, the Quirkus brand, is as good as it gets. I started thinking about a lot of the fish that I had lost through the years. I've caught a lot. I've caught a tremendous amount of fish over 10. I've caught 6 or 7 in the teens, 7 in the teens. I don't know. It's a big number. As far as fish over 10 on a frog, I don't know. Exact number, I don't know. Somewhere between 30 and 40 over 10 on a frog.
Ridiculous.
Okay. Fish from 5 to a little over 13 pounds on a frog, big number, okay? I've lost a lot of fish between 5 and over 15 pounds, guaranteed on a frog. Disappointment Slough, a couple that I'm thinking of right now, Disappointment Slough, Frank's Track, Mildred, a couple that I would have loved to have got my hands on.
I think you told me.
A couple of them were pre-fishing.
Yeah, I heard about the one that looked like about a 5-gallon bucket. The way you described how it came up in Nature Frog. I think that was that an FLW you were in? I believe
there was one in the south end of the Frank's Track first day of an FLW tent event. I had a guy from San Diego, big fish specialist. Mm-hmm. And I told him, I said, dude, I had to weigh in at 2:00. I have my switch at 1. I have my switch. I have my switch in the track at 110. Mm-hmm. I know this is going to be. I'm on the south end of the. I hate to tell these stories because it takes up too much of this time. Anyway,
I know. Sorry, I derailed you.
I need this water to. I just need these water. There's 9 tulies over here. I just need some current. Some current. I just need some current. I've got 3 fish in a live well. Mm-hmm. I need this fish. My partner shook this fish off on a drop shot in the second day of practice. Mm-hmm. I know this is a giant fish. Anyway, but she will not eat my frog until that water starts. I know that. She is not. If I throw it at this spot any time before that water starts to move north to south and put a little bit of current and make those tulies do this right here, all she's going to do is look at it. But if those tulies are standing straight up, she's going to come up, look at it, and swim away. If those tulies have a little bit of movement like this within the first 17 minutes of this right here, she's going to eat that thing like she's never seen a frog in her life. Anyway, that's what she did, and I lose her because of getting back to this rod. I lose this fish because I know I'm going to get bit. I am so jacked up, and she comes up, and my guy goes like that about the same time that I do, and she goes, oh, like that, and I go whack with the Bobby's Perfect frog rod, my Falcon, and I move this fish. This fish is not 14, she's not 17, she's right in there. Caught a lot of teeners, man. I've lost a lot of teeners. I've looked at a lot of teeners. She's right in there, mid-teen fish, in the first day of an FLW tournament. And I hit this, I light this joker up, and she comes sailing out of the water like this. Probably moved her about 3 yards. My rod is going through I got her like this. And if you slow-mode that line, my line is now loose like this, and I've got this mid-teener coming at me hot. Shaking her head. My line, if you filmed it frame by frame, my fishing pole is now a pole cue, and my line is doing this right here and she comes off. So I can't have that happen. It's fishing for the moment. And when you get the moment like that, you better have the right equipment. If I have this rod right here during my frog career, I have so much more money I own half of Northeast Texas with the fish that I have lost with the frog, unfortunately, through the years. Anyway, that being said, I have taken a lot of that. We worked on this rod so hard and back and forth with Matt. I had to take the rod, take the blanks, go get some bites, set the hook, 3, 4, 5. Texas is perfect. Got a tremendous amount of 3 to 6 pound bass that will eat a frog. Great place to practice and develop a rod like this. So we got it right. It's absolutely perfect. Everybody that I know that has bought this rod's got a minimum of 2. I know guys that have gotten 8 or 9 or 10 of them. So
how many do you have?
I've got
right number?
Me personally, I don't like to have more than 4 on the deck.
Yeah, that's a nice sweet spot to be
I've got 8, 9 in the boat, but enough of the rod. The rods are amazing. It is like this because it's not just a rod we just threw together. This rod from tip to butt is because that's how it needs to be. Because I know through trial and error, through R&D, through a lot of heartache, through a lot of high fives, this is how this needs to be. And that's what we did. We printed it. It's blueprinted. This thing is amazing. Anyway, you have different types of frogs. There's no 2 frogs that are the same. You have all different brands. Let me see this guy here. You have all different brands. You have different styles, different sleekness, different colors. A lot going on. And with our frogs, there's no different. You got the fat frog. The fat frog, if you're throwing up underneath trees, you got obstructions, docks and stuff, the fat frog will actually, it will skip better than the Bobby's Perfect frog.
That's a very slender, low profile, perfect.
And he's a little more flatter. He's a little flatter. He's a little thinner. And he will tumble. He will either hit a side, get on a side and go, or he will get on a side and do a little bit of tumbling on his way down through there, and he will get that 1 to 3, 4 yard skip. Whereas with my frog's got more of a wider. It's just an amazing walking frog. This is a good walking frog too, but it's a better skipping frog for that type of stuff. Now for open water walking, target fishing, open water walking, or just covering a tremendous amount of water, throwing it out there and just bobbing the nose all the way back, all that kind of stuff. This is the deal as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that's why we call it Bobby's Perfect frog. The hook, second to none. That hook right there is just off the charts. That hook right there. You don't want a perfect round bend hook on, as far as I'm concerned, this is my opinion. You don't want a perfectly round bend hook on anything. Learned this back in the day when we used to throw sluggos and scatter shads. Okay? You don't want that. And I had this, one of the greatest conversations I used to have with Aaron Martins was more of a slender O'Shaughnessy style shank right in there, not a full-blown O'Shaughnessy style like you would like an eagle claw bait holder type hook. No, give me a little more bite to it, give me a little more gap to it, but with the O'Shaughnessy style. Anyway, so we've got this guy right here. It's got that, and the way that it sits on this frog, again, that's why we call it Bobby's Perfect. You can pet that guy. You can pet that guy all day long. And if it lands upside down, which frogs are going to land, they're flying through the air, and you're going to make 1,300 casts during the day, it's going to land upside down on occasion. It's just going to happen. So when it does land upside down on some duckweed, on some cladophora, on lily pads, whatever it may be, on my first twitch, which a lot of times is the most important part of getting it where it needs to be, and then tempo, right? Sometimes it hits the water, pop, 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 phew. Bop, 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 bop. We're just covering. Bop, 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 bop. Sometimes it hits the water. We're throwing at exact targets. That clump of dollar pads in and amongst lily pads that are this big. Primrose that sticks out there. We got some runners that come out that much further than the rest. Those 4 runners right there that come out. The bottom of the last 12 minutes of the outgoing tide, I want those 4 runners right there. I'm throwing past it. Bop, 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 bop. Stop. Bop, 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 bop. Stop. I did that for a little bit. Not happening. So now I'm throwing I got 2 runners out there. I'm throwing right at those 2. Not that far beyond it. Not that far beyond. I am throwing exactly where I've got 2 little runners of primrose coming off. And I got 15 minutes of outgoing tide right here. She's 4 to 6 pounders down through here. They know how this works. And this is the deal. When it's like this, I do not want to throw past her because now I know I'm in the window. I just got a 5.5. I just had a giant miss it back here. I'm in the window. So everything has to be tight, target fishing, spot fishing. And it better be what they're looking for. They love to eat these things. No matter where you find black bass, they love to eat bluegills. One of my favorite target baits right here. This guy and that guy. And I'm throwing at that, not beyond it, not in front of it, not beyond it. I'm right here. Accuracy in casting is huge. And it's got to land here. Because I'm going to force this fish into making a decision. I'm not going to throw beyond it and let her have a good look at it and decide, maybe no. When I do this, she's already jacked up. She's keyed. And it goes pop. She just does this right here. And then I bob the nose like that. And then, it's a done deal. It's an absolute done deal when you get in that type of a situation. So, but this thing is just amazing. Now, the popping style frogs, this guy right here, the smash mouth, we just came out with this guy. And we worked on this dude for 2 years. And we took the Bobby's Perfect hook. And this was going to get released last year. Everything was perfect. You should see the blues. You should see the drawings on this thing. It's amazing. I mean, full-blown, engineered, detailed to the T. American Bait Works, the factory over there, is unbelievable in Mississippi. It is just state-of-the-art. It's brand new. Everything's perfect. Everything's amazing. And they don't do anything half-butt at all. They took this guy, everything's perfect, got the cave mouth perfect, got the water evac system, little hole back there so that you don't have to keep squeezing your frog and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. We've recessed the weight into the back section of the frog. It's just got that nice little tilt. It's got a nice little like 6 to 8 degree tilt to it, when it sits in the water. And again, you can pet that guy. And the hooks are absolutely perfect. But when we were going to release this dude, we took this hook and we put it in this frog. And then we started getting some bites on it, but we were losing them. What is going on? Hey, we got a problem. So you know what they did? They said, we can't release this thing. They could have released it and made a whole lot of money on it. Can't do it because it's not right. Everything's great. Everything's awesome. We got the clevis that the hook... that little guy right there is so special. That little clevis is so special right there. But we took this whole harness right here and we put it in this frog, and I would get some 4 to 6 pounders on, and they would come off. What is wrong? And then Walt lost a couple of big fish. What is going on? The hook shank was too long. So they stopped all production until they got the hook right. And it took them 6 months to get that hook right.
Jeez.
Making a modification, it's a brand new hook. This hook has never been made. So they had to redo the whole thing. They had to make it perfect. Send it back, all the R&D. Anyway, lots and lots of work has gone into this thing. But the poppin' style frog, man, you talk about a hole in my game. I never realized the importance. But this is the real bummer with me. Forever, since the 80s, May and June, it was just standard that you throw a popar, or we threw wood choppers. I would throw a wood chopper, which was the big prop bait, big wooden prop bait, or a popar, a poppin' style bait, or something that was just obnoxiously loud. And moved a lot of water, but stopped. That was the whole key. Had to move water, had to make noise, but stop. Well, that's what these things do. And I never paid any attention to it. I can't throw my popar or my wood chopper under willow trees that hang over Nice and Lucerne up at Clear Lake.
Yep.
I can get them close.
You might get a foot or two under,
But this guy right here, I can put it right into the teeth of that willow tree right there. Blop, 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 blop. Oh, you don't even see the bite. I mean, you're swinging on sound, you're swinging on noise, and when they eat it in there, that's all you need, man. Because when you swing, that rod gets about right there, and it just stops. So it's I miss. What is my favorite cadence with a bait like this right here? I don't know. Whatever they want that day. This year, I've never seen a year like this year. I'm talking about May and June, and I'm in Texas where our water temperature is, on the average, our water temperature probably runs about 10 degrees higher than California, no matter what time of the year, except for wintertime. Our water does get cooler. But when our water temperature starts to warm up a little bit, especially in April, this guy, the smashmouth and the poppin' style frogs, around the pads that were just starting to grow, around spawning areas, buckbrush, all that kind of stuff, pad stems from last year, I'd throw that thing in there and I go blop, 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 zero. But if I threw that joker out there and went, just a little, oh, are you kidding me? No, are you going to be that temperamental when it comes to this stuff? Yes. And they stayed like that till July.
Wow.
Everything was subtle pop. None of this pop, 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 pop. No, they wanted it just a little spit, 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 spit. Let it sit, spit, spit, let it sit. Oh, and they'd get it. Very frustrating. But once you, again, getting the recipe to the cake, right? You get the recipe to the cake and you stay with it. You find the right oven, you can bake some really cool cakes out there on the lake. Wow. So,
well,
are we done? Does that make any sense?
That made a lot of sense. That made so much sense. Too much sense. So, if you guys are looking for any of this frog stuff, of course, we have it all at Fisherman's Warehouse. So, whether you're looking for the fat frog, the Bobby's Perfect frog, smash mouth, we got scum frog, we got every other brand of frog there is too. And, of course, in stock right now, your 2 rods. We got both of them here. So, if you guys are looking for any of this stuff, come on down to Fisherman's Warehouse, order it online, we'll ship it straight to your door. And, you guys will not be disappointed. I can't think of anybody better to learn how to frog fish from than you. So I know if it comes out of your mouth and it's frog fishing, then it's what we should listen to. So,
I was thinking, the scum frog's a really cool bait too. I know they've really revamped this guy. It's amazing. We were talking about John Walton a little while ago, and I sat down one day and I tried to figure out how many days. I've got my journals. I got my log. I got my BASS daily planners from. I think I started putting my notes in those books in '92 or '93. I used to spend 150 days a year on the water, and then it bumped to 200, and then it bumped to 250, And then it was 300 plus for a long, long time. Anyway, I've got somewhere between 9 and 10,000 days on the water. 9 to 10,000 days on the water. 2 hours here, but most of the time when I would say I'm just going to go fishing for a few hours at 1 o'clock, I stay till dark. I'm going to go.
It's hard to leave.
When I'm guiding, or a lot of my guides, all the other guides hated me because I guided daylight to dark. I used to do that a lot. But in that time, all those thousands of days and tens of thousands of hours, you learn some things. Mm-hmm. And you get to see the difference between how they react to this color in bright skies, overcast skies, muddy water, dirty water, cold water, springtime, summertime, fall time, this type of vegetation, that type of vegetation, when they're killing the weeds, when they're not killing the weeds. You get to, it's an evolution, it's an expansion of your game, it's an expansion of you as a fisherman, as an artist, as whatever it is, however you want to look at it. But you're always evolving, and at this day and age, we just don't, for the most part, most of us don't have the ability to spend the kind of time on the water that we would all love to. The kind of time that, and here's the kicker, here's the toughest part, here's the part that people, that your normal guy just doesn't understand. I don't care how much time you spend on the water. I don't care. I've been blessed to where I've been able to spend an amazing amount of time on the water. But the kicker is you get 53 minutes a day, sometimes twice, to really learn something. Mm-hmm. The rest of it is fool's gold. Mm-hmm. So that's where you've got to be able to decipher between what's real and what's not. I just caught that one. Was that fake? Can I do that again? And it's a 4-pounder. When you start to catch the 3 3/4 pound bass, you need to listen to everything that fish is trying to tell you. It's really hard to catch a 6-pounder after you catch a 225, unless it's April spawn season, because that happens. But it's highly likely to catch a 5 to 8, 9-pound bass after you've caught a 428. That can happen a lot. Mm-hmm. So you have to put yourself in a situation through your mental outlook and through your bait choice to where you're dealing with a higher quality fish. And when you do that, now you're going to get less bites than you would if you just grabbed a little drop shot, grabbed a little worm, grabbed a little 5-inch Senko, not a 6, not a 7, and just fished all day long. 10 days, 5-inch Senko. He gets 10 days on the water, 5-inch Senko. He's averaging 15, 17 bites a day. 10 trips. I don't care what time of the year it is. He's averaging 17 bites a day. 10 trips. I'm using a topwater bait. I'm averaging 6 to 10 bites a day. And then how many of those do you miss? Did your line break? Do you get your hands on? I had him on. He went behind a tree. So now, at the end of the day, who's got more photographed fish? That guy does for sure. But you have a lot better, higher quality than what he on for the most. Now I hate to compare it against a Senko because I think the Senko is the greatest bait that's ever been invented. But you know, I mean, it's a quantity versus quality thing. And if you now this, I don't even want to compare. I shouldn't even compare it against. Let's say the same thing. Chatterbait. Nah, chatterbait's the second greatest bait ever invented. But it's when you get into that quantity versus quality thing, more bites versus less bites. It's a mental thing, and a lot of times, for the most part, you're dealing with quantity versus quality. Now, I got to be real careful with that because there's not a lake in the country that you cannot win a tournament on with a drop shot from March 1st to June 1st. There is a bank, 2 banks, a combination of 1, 2, or 3 banks on every Chickamauga, Lake Sam Rayburn, Delta, I don't care. Clear Lake, right depth, right pattern, you can win with a drop shot. Every single lake, March 1st to June 1st. You can.
Mm-hmm. That's one I could actually talk about too.
Yeah, maybe you can do that with the jig. I'd feel, and I love throwing a jig way more than drop shot. But there's not a lot of baits that you can say that with that can catch a lot of fish, but also win with. Mm-hmm. And I think the drop shot's the one that you can't even, because you can drop shot 2, 3, 4 banks, disappointment and white slough, and have 37 pounds like my team partner Dan did with his son in a Restore the Delta tournament. And we're all running around throwing chatterbaits, and the wind was blowing 25, 28 miles an hour. And Dan had 38 pounds with 2 10s.
Jeez.
Every one of them on a drop shot. Nope, Vince caught an 8-pounder, 7-pounder, or an 8-pounder on a Cinco at the end of the game. I think he called out a 5-pounder. But big wind, you think they're going to eat reaction, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm starting to babble now. But yeah, it's I don't know. What's the answer to this thing? Grab a couple of baits, get real make good decisions, and execute your decisions.
You couldn't say it any better than that. So
That's
I think that's
key.
what we're going to leave it on then.
Okay.
Make good decisions, execute on them.
Yep.
Have a good time on the water. So anyways, like we said, thank you guys for joining us from Fisherman's Warehouse. Bobby Barrack here. And come on down to one of the stores. Check us out.
Absolutely.
Or shop with us online either way. So, all right. We will catch you guys in the next video.